All right, y'all, good morning. Second time's a charm. It is now 6:59 on Monday morning, December the 10th, 2018. Still trying to keep up with this whole go live on Facebook on a regular basis. Going to try to get a couple more in for you today. And yeah, I know I'm in my bathrobe, but what can I tell you? So you know what? As old Gary Halbert said, motion beats meditation. Doing stuff beats trying to do it perfectly. An offer made badly is better than no offer at all, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. During our last couple of conversations we've had here on the interwebs, I've been helping you guys out with making more offers more consistently, because that makes a lot of more money typically. You know, I've always said that our income is in direct proportion to the amount of offers we make. It's also in direct proportion to the amount of goodwill you have. So when it comes to making offers, I don't know about you, man, but one of the most unpleasant things in marketing is to stare at the blank page. Like, you know, when you have to write a sales letter or create a video sales letter or whatever, or write an ad and you just are staring at that blank page and it feels like you have to write a term paper. You know what I mean? Like back in high school or whatever, when the paper was due and you're just like, oh God. Okay, well, where do I start? You know, so I figured I would give you, I'd give you some stuff to model today that might be helpful. By the way, if you like this stuff, please hit the like button or the love button. That's right. I'm in my bathrobe asking you to, in my bathrobe rather, asking you to hit my love button. There's nothing weird about that. It's just a middle-aged guy on the internet in his bathrobe. And share this, by the way, if you find it helpful. That sure would be great. So what I want to do is help take away some of the unpleasantry when it comes to figuring out what to say, especially at the beginning stages of making an offer, right? Like, for example, a headline, or what to say at the beginning of your ad, or how to get the whole thing kicked off. Okay, so there's a lot of formulas, and I'll tell you one that I've been having pretty good luck with lately for myself and for clients, and it's something that it's an approach I learned from two guys. One's Dan Kennedy and one's Jay Abraham. Jay, I think, said this best. Pretty sure this was Jay. We're going to give Jay credit regardless. I think it was him, though. He said, sometimes the easiest way to sell a horse is to run an ad that says horse for sale. Man, when I saw that, I was like, well, I'll be damned. That makes pretty good sense. Because, you know, if you look at like a lot of copywriting stuff and internet marketing stuff, it's like you have to have all this story and this crazy attention-getting things. And yeah, that works pretty good. I mean, there's no real getting around that, but it's also pretty dang hard, right? So sometimes simple is better. And Dan Kennedy has this methodology that he refers to as dog whistle copy. And if I am like paraphrasing, right? So I could be screwing up the way Dan teaches this. My apologies, Dan, if I do. But essentially, the idea behind dog whistle copy is there's those whistles that only dogs can hear, you know, allegedly. Well, there's copy that's only going to be relevant to the people that want to buy your type of stuff, and that's why he calls it dog whistle copy. And what I want to talk to you about today is dog whistle copy formulas. This is probably the easiest way to start an offer that doesn't require that mind-numbing staring at the blank page thing. So here it is, okay? Here's the word pattern. Remember last time we did a bathrobe thing? I was telling you about having your scheming pads in the morning? That's where I got this from today. It's from the old scheming pad. Came up here before, or over here to my library before starting the video this morning, made out some schemes, and this is what I decided to talk to y'all about. All right, so here it is. Here's the copy. Read this if you want to X, right? So I'll give you a story around it. I have a client. He is in medicine, and he deals with people that have chronic migraines. We created an ad. It's like, well, what should we have for the headline? I don't know. And then I was like, how about this? If you suffer from chronic headaches, read this immediately, right? Now, if you look at the title of this video, I deliberately titled it, Watch This If You Want to Sell More Stuff. This approach works so well, there's actually an entire series of photography books that use this formula as their titles of the books. I first saw it in weirdly in, what's that kids clothing store? My daughters, I got daughters, one's 13 and one's 16, and they go to one of these stores where it's just horrible if you're a middle-aged guy, because they're blaring music that I think that ISIS invented to torment people. And then like there's 7 million people in there and it takes forever for, the kids are all in a line waiting to try on their stuff. So there's a bookshelf in there, probably for we middle-aged folks who are buying everything. And on the bookshelf, this book was for sale, and the title of the book was "Read This If You Want to Take Great Pictures," or something. And I was like, some bitch, ain't that a hell of a title? So then I took a picture of it because it fascinated me because it was classic dog whistle copy. Then I Googled it, and it turns out the dude has sold a gazillion of the books because obviously, like, who wouldn't read that if they didn't want to take great pictures? And not only did he sell a gazillion of those books, he then expanded the line to other books like, read this if you want to take great pictures of people. Read this if you want to take great pictures of nature, or something like that, right? I'm kind of going by memory. All right, so the old read this or watch this if you want to get big result is a classic and very, very effective formula. You could also use the read this or watch this if you have a big problem formula. Or, of course, you could flip it, and you could say, if you want to get big result, read this, or if you have big problem, watch this. Yeah, dude, I know it's obvious, right? If you ever read that book, Obvious Atoms, a real old school classic book in the world of marketing and advertising. It's in the public domain, so just Google the title, Obvious Atoms, and you should be able to download a free copy. Really, really good. The whole point of it is kind of the most basic stuff that's right in front of you, the stuff that works pretty good. Now, there are other variations of this approach, by the way. A really, really famous ad, I can't embarrass to tell you, I can't remember who wrote it, old school print media ad, is the open letter formula. And one of the more famous ads is one that says, an open letter to men who want to quit work someday. I think that's the exact headline. Again, I'm going by memory. Works great. Right? An open letter to people who suffer from chronic back pain. Another perfect one, right? An open letter to frustrated photographers who just want to take nice portraits. That's another one, right? So again, if you're having trouble with the offer, a lot of times the trouble is trying to figure out how to start the dang thing. I'm telling you, man, as obvious as this framework is, the dog whistle framework, works pretty good. And I'll tell you what, it really works better than nothing. Right? It works a whole lot better than not doing anything. So now we got the beginning of the offer, right? Your headline, the beginning of your ad, the beginning of your sales letter, the beginning of your video, whatever it is. Watch this, if you want to do better underwater cat juggling or whatever. So then what do you say? Well, now we get into intros, right? And the rest of the copy. And I'll give you just some helpful stuff. We won't go through an entire freaking dissertation on how to write copy right now. And incidentally, when I say write copy, it could mean script videos, it could mean make-up videos on the fly like I'm doing now, whatever. But they're very powerful phrases that you can use. Phrase number one is because, okay? So if I said something like, watch this if you want to sell more stuff, and it was in a letter format, I might begin the letter by saying something like, dear friend, you're going to want to read every word of this letter if you want to sell more stuff because, and then I would give the reason why they would want to read the rest of the letter, right? Another one is the here's why language pattern. Very, very effective. I learned it from Sir Gary of Halbert, the late great, possibly the greatest of our generation. Well, my generation anyway. He would often begin letters or pitches like this. Dear friend, if you want to get really big result, this is the most important letter you've ever read. Here's why. Both of those patterns originate from the concept of something called reason why copywriting or reason why advertising, which was first, I guess, discovered or made popular, by the way, by a fellow named John E. Kennedy, who was a Canadian Mountie. John E. Kennedy was discovered by one Albert D. Lasker, who eventually was the president and owner of Lord & Thomas Advertising, the very same Albert D. Lasker who hired Claude Hopkins. Claude Hopkins, of course, being considered the father of modern direct response advertising. See, none of the stuff I'm sharing with you is new. It's all been around for close to 100 years now, but we get pretty caught up in trying to be fancy on these internets. What I found is if you do the basic stuff that's always worked and you just do that on the interwebs, works pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, it's 7:10. I got to roll. My children are probably awake now. I'm going to make my little bride some coffee, get to work, do all the stuff I put on the list of stuff to get done today. I'll see y'all later when I'm properly dressed. I'll try to go live later on today. Oh, by the way, if you want to create campaigns that sell in your business and you like this type of stuff that I'm talking to you about, you should probably get yourself a copy of my book. It's called Convert 2.0, How to Create Internet Campaigns That Sell. You can get it at frank+kern.com. If someone would write that URL in the comments for me, I sure would appreciate it. I would do it, but I'm on the phone, and that'd be weird, you know. That's Frank Kern, my name, book.com. You can pick yourself up a copy of that book. It's $5.60. If you don't like the book, I'll give you back your $5.60, and you can still keep the book anyway. Pretty good deal. All right, y'all. I'm going to start the day. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll be back on later. All right. Take it easy.